A blue shark being heaved on board. Images recorded by a crew member of the Nuevo Ceres, one of these ships assessed for MSC certification, found on YouTube. What's shown here is banned on European ships. The fins are cut off on board. It's called finning. The finned shark bodies are kept as long as there's still space in the hold. If not, they're just thrown overboard to make room for the valuable fins. Is this still common practice today? We decided to investigate for ourselves and followed the course of the Playa del Rio, another MSC assessed ship. It calls regularly at the port of Montevideo, Uruguay, a popular transshipment point for shark fins. We were unable to secure a permit to shoot in the harbor. Secretly filmed in June 2017. The cargo consists of frozen shark. Clear to see, the bodies are all finless. We checked the ship again on its next return. The same story. But what was in the white sacks being unloaded by the ton? A ship's officer experienced in the shark trade let us in on the secret.
The sacks are full of fins. That's illegal. They have to be on the body. Like this is not allowed.
Are you sure it's fins in there?
Yes, some of them are even sticking out of the sacks. Here.
But the Uruguayan harbor police must notice that too.
Of course, but that doesn't bother them. In countries like that, they think, if we search a ship and slap a fine on them, they'll never come back to our harbor again. I've done it myself, but that was in Namibia. We had 80 tons of shark on board. That means 8 tons of fins at most. But I had 10 tons on board, so I hid the extra 2 tons of fins in the ship.
And what did you do then?
When the inspectors were gone, I unloaded them into the same container as the bodies. If I had done that here in Spain, the ship would have been grounded for years.
But how could assessors possibly deem a fishery like this worthy of MSC certification? Bureau Veritas refused to give us an interview. Vancouver, Canada. We hope to get an answer from Dr. Daniel Pauly. He's the director of the Institute for the Oceans and Fisheries and had helped found the MSC in 1997. Back then, Dr. Pauly was enthusiastic about the dialogue between industry and conservancy. He now distances himself from MSC certification practices.
All these people, or the whole complex, from the MSC and the certifying agency and the consultant that work for the certifying agency, they all know that a certification brings money to the MSC and that it therefore is an incentive to give a positive assessment, because if you give a negative assessment, you might not get another contract.
But MSC says, okay, that's not our problem because we only certified the sport fish.
Yes, you can. All kind of things can be done once you have. If you act in bad faith, then you can lie. You can invent all kind of things, and then you're into the realm of fake news. The point is that they have lost their soul, and their soul is to be a fair partner mediating between the business community and the conservation community. And they have gone to the dark side entirely. Entirely.
A serious allegation that the MSC rejects. They maintain that with the WWF as a partner, Nature Conservancy is adequately represented. And, by the way, the fishery from Vigo had in the meantime withdrawn its MSC application, but only temporarily. They maintained that as soon as international guidelines for shark fishing were established, they would be completing the certification process for swordfish, but for shark too, at that stage officially. Galicia, Spain is the beat of the traditional coastal fishermen. José Luis Rodriguez is a squid fisher and president of the Association of Galician Small Fisheries. He lives from the ocean, does not endanger stocks, and has as good as no bycatch. This is what you'd expect to find behind an eco-label for sustainable fishery. But contrary to the shark fishermen, José Luis Rodriguez doesn't want the MSC seal.
I make the fish traps myself out of wood and wire. Our technological options are so limited that we simply aren't able to overfish. That's very good for the ocean. We also create many more jobs than the industrial fisheries. The MSC invited us and we met with them. They want to certify some of the species here. But we severed our ties with them because they were also negotiating with the industrial fleet owners about the same fish stocks. If the MSC only wants to certify the stocks of a certain species, but not the fishing method, then we don't want the MSC. Quite frankly, in my view, the MSC is a fraud that helps the industrial fishing fleets. The consumers are completely unaware of that. They go into the supermarket, see the MSC logo, and believe it guarantees the sustainability of the product. But they have no idea how the fish were caught, with bottom trawl nets and factory ships, or by means of traditional sustainable craftsmanship. This ship here drops several thousand tons. Wherever they fish on the planet, it will soon be the end of the line for the species they catch.
It took almost a week to discharge this whole load of tuna from the Indian Ocean. Spain's tuna armada is one of the world's largest. It's subsidized by the European Union to help counter the Chinese competition. This gives rise to enormous overcapacities. The MSC is fully on board for the tuna boom and is currently busy certifying the first big tuna fleets. Resistance, however, is beginning to form. For example, in the Azores. One man, one hook, one fish. That's how the pole and line fishermen have worked for generations. Try as they might, they can never fish away more than 20% of a school of tuna fish. The school can then recover. The big industrial ships, on the other hand, annihilate the entire school. There's not much left for them, lament the traditional pole and line fishermen. Horta, on the Azores island of Fayal, is the home port of a little tuna fleet currently fighting for survival.
Very few fish come here anymore. Several years back, there were many, many more. In my opinion, the big ships with their huge purse seine nets are to blame. They fish up everything.
That method of fishing kills the offspring in particular, which means the next generation of tuna fish.
Last year we caught 343 tons. Per seiner can catch probably 2,000 tons in one roll, probably. And then there's another issue. It's probably he was going to say that. It's that we have working in Azores something like 545 men on board, and a per seiner only have 27, 30 men on board. So you can see this is not sustainability.
The fishermen from Horta were looking sharp in their role as hosts of the first World Congress of the Pole and Line Fishermen. Delegates from Asia, Africa, and Europe had come to unite in resistance to the plunder of the world's oceans. Most people at this gathering no longer trusted the MSC. The MSC says they support sustainable artisan fishery.
To be honest, the MSC is a complete sham, just there to put window dressing on the companies that absolutely do not work sustainably. There is nothing more sustainable than us pole fishermen. One man, one hook. We're being liquidated. Soon we won't exist anymore. And then just a few will divide up the oceans amongst themselves.
Despite disappointment about the MSC seal, even some of these pole fishermen wanted to have it. They won't be able to sell their wares in Europe otherwise. The fishermen of the Maldives in the Indian Ocean are already certified.
Yeah, MSC certified our fishery, but we are struggling because if pole and line fishery, like sustainably, speaking its sustainability is one of the very cleanest and greenest, is equal to also eco-labeled same certificate carrying or logo carrying products from trawling, for example, or perseining on schools with dolphins and catching juveniles as well as other fish. I think the consumers should be able to know what is actually a eco-label.
Back in Mexico.